It's startling to see just what a prick David Cameron really is. David Cameron announces immigration benefits crackdown. David Cameron is to announce tough action on immigration that will halve the amount of time foreigners can claim benefits in the UK. The coalition will introduce laws to ensure that European Union migrants can only claim out-of-work benefits for 3 months, Mr. Cameron says in an article for The Telegraph. Did you see him posing for pictures in an immigrant's house with transvestite Terry May? What a fucking joke. Let me tell you again, Cameron can change nothing, absolutely nothing, regarding benefits received by immigrants because Gordon Brown signed the Lisbon Treaty. The only way he can do anything about the benefits that migrants receive is by coming out of the European Union. Cameron knows this, he just thinks that the public are complete and utter fucking idiots. Well, we're not all idiots, Cameron, you wanker. The EU are already looking into Cameron's policy. A policy that I might add is no doubt keeping news of Westminster paedophiles off the front pages. The European Commission is preparing to investigate David Cameron's immigration crackdown to determine whether it is legal under EU law. Well, I can tell you off the bat, it isn't fucking legal. Cameron is an idiot. Cameron is a twat. That almost rhymed. Now, Cameron's never gonna happen immigration benefit cut wants to save about £100 million. But today we had this headline. Britain is still set to hand out $5 billion in tax credits to immigrants. Despite David Cameron's crackdown on benefit tourism, tax credits top up salary of low-paid workers and are effectively in-work benefits and can far outstrip the wages of their recipients. Our country is a complete and utter fucking joke. We cannot go on like this. Now, for all you adolescents out there, this is not a racist statement. It is merely a statement of fact. And if you're offended by what I have to say about immigrants and what have you, then I'm afraid you better just fuck off somewhere else. But it gets worse. I received an email today from change.org asking me to sign a petition for David Cameron to hold an inquiry into benefit sanctions that killed my brother. Not my brother, the author of the petition's brother. My brother's not dead, for the record. Unless he died last night and no one's told me, but anyway. The petition reads like this. My brother, David Clapson, a diabetic ex-soldier, died starving and destitute because he was penalised by the job centre for missing a meeting. David had his £71.70 weekly allowance stopped, meaning that he couldn't afford food or electricity. He was penniless, starving and alone. His electricity card was out of credit, meaning the fridge where he should have kept his diabetes insulin chilled was not working. 3 weeks after his benefits were stopped, he died from not taking his insulin. David wasn't a scrounger. He had worked for 29 years, 5 years in the army, including 2 years in Northern Ireland in the 1970s during the height of the Troubles, 16 years with British Telecom, 8 years with various other companies, and in recent years was a carer for our sick mum. When mum went into a home, David turned to the state for help, receiving benefits while he looked for work, taking unpaid work placements. When he died, he had just £3.44 to his name, 6 tea bags, a tin of soup, and an out-of-date can of sardines. A coroner also found he had no food in his stomach. This is the reality of our fucking country in 2014. We are a fucking joke run by toffs who just do not care about people like this poor David Clapson. We have to rid our country of the vermin that runs it. Just shuffling around a few women and putting them in the cabinet will not change the policies of David Cameron. David Cameron's policies are dictated to him by the EU and by paedophile Tories who are behind the scenes pulling Cameron's strings. And the Rothschilds are back there as well. We can afford to spend £12 billion a year in overseas aid, and we can afford to hand out £5 billion a year in tax credits to migrants, but we can't afford to look after our own, our veterans. What an absolute outrage. And most of this is because of the legislation the EU dictate to us. We cannot change the migrants' benefits. We just simply cannot unless we come out of the EU. I hate Cameron. I hate the EU. In fact, this is how much I hate the EU.